Hello, welcome to the Reality Vomit Podcast, an extension of the Vomit series of podcasts. As always, I'm your host, Mac Taylor, and today we're here to discuss Thursday's edition of Big Brother Canada 9, Episode 8. I am recording this and going to be subsequently uploading this on a Saturday. I usually get that done on Fridays, but some things came up yesterday, and I fell a little behind in getting some other things accomplished. So, shit happens, but nevertheless, here we are today. We're just going to be talking about the episode proper and how I think the week's going to go. I haven't caught up on my feeds yet. On Monday's edition, we will be talking more of what's going on in the feeds and what's happening subsequently in the house. So no spoiler section today, and this is going to be a fairly short podcast as we're only talking about the episode proper. So we start off with, the end of the cliffhanger as Jed does not use the POV as he is worried about Ty going up on the block. And they didn't put it in the episode, but Vic did go up to him and say, hey, I was never going to put Ty up. So again, I think the reason why they're doing this, because Arissa talked a lot at the top of the episode about, queens running the house. And I don't think the show really wants to show how bad Austin fumbled her HOH and how bad or how sloppy Vic has been with hers, because they're trying to get this message of, powerful women in the house, which is great. It's just that, we need to be a little more transparent with how things are going. I really only say a couple of people are playing really well in the house, so it's not that, the men are doing, so I think the men are doing shitty too. So, but we need to call it how we see it in the house. And Kiefer, Jed, when he says, I wanted to use it on Latoya, but things came up, and then he doesn't use it. Kiefer doesn't like that too much. And, Jed shouldn't have said that. If you're not going to use the veto, just say, I'm not going to use the veto. Then tell it, Latoya knows what happened. Then just tell her, hey, I couldn't do it because of Ty. Announce to the house, yes, they know Jed and Ty are together, but they don't need to know how incredibly close Jed and Ty are, and Kiefer in particular doesn't need to know that as well. Even if he assumes it, now he knows it. So again, there is another really sloppy move. And Vic kind of knows she's in danger going into next week. I just don't think she knows how much danger she's actually in going into next week. Unless they take a shot at Kyle and Roe, which they 100% should, because Kyle and Roe are the bigger threats to their games. But if they don't take a shot at Kyle and Roe, they're going to take a shot at Vic. She's right up there in the number one hits for the Sunsetters side of the house, particularly, I keep saying Ted, Jed, Ty, and Kiefer. So Jed feels sorry for Keith having to take the fall because, again, they've been told by Vic that Kiefer's the target. But guys, and they do figure it out, but if Kiefer was really the target, why would she be so hell-bent on keeping Latoya on the block when Kiefer is the target? And the boys need LT to stay because she's a big part of their three. But they're not looking good. It's not going to happen. LT's going home. And Ty, Keith, LT, and Jed are kind of shit talking oh, Vic's done next week, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, I'm coming for her. And she overhears them talking about her and then goes right to the oddballs and are like, oh, they think I'm so stupid. They need to go. But, it's hard to already throw them. They're already, a target. You can't make them more a target than they already are. And, you said you quote-unquote want to work with them, but, you fucked them bad. And now you want them to work with you. You should not be surprised to hear that you're their target. So Kiefer gets around to campaigning now that the noms are set. And he's telling Austin and Braden, hey, everyone thinks I'm the target, but really Vic wants, LT gone. I've been acting sad. But they already know this. Vic already told them this. They're already in on the plan. And so Kiefer walks out, and they're like, psh, they act like we don't already know everything that's going on in the house. And they know everything that's going on in the oddball side of the house, not on the Sunsetter side. So they don't know everything that's going on in the house. They also don't know about Tina and Tara double dealing. And they also don't know about Tina, Tara, and Kiefer also being a middle part of the house. So no, Austin and Bray, you do not know everything that's going on in the house, but your egos are getting in the way of seeing what's going on in the game. Because yes, Austin and Bray are going to go far. But as far as chances of winning this game, very low. And the reasoning why it's very low is because they've been such passive game players. They sit in rooms and talk to each other, or talk to Kyle and Rowe, or talk to Vic, and they don't try to play the game. It's mostly just they don't have game strategy talk. They have, hold hands, kumbaya, we're best friends talk, which in real life is great, but this is not real life. This is the Big Brother Canada house. Play the fucking game. Like, Austin and Bray really frustrate me because they could really be in a power position in the house if they just did a little more social work. So they did this team bingo thing, which, did we really need this in an eviction episode? Like, we have, I know there's not a lot, I know it's pretty much written on the wall that LT's going home, but like, did we really need this whole segment in the episode? It seemed a little unnecessary. But we get the team bingo where the winning team gets a pizza party, and one of the losers has to wear a giant bingo ball costume. And they all have to do these tasks. Beth, really bad at backwards alphabet, and Ty really was like, oh my god, like, I'm crushing on an idiot. Bray has to be fully clothed and get in the hot tub, that's not fun. That is a punishment that, it takes forever to dry off. I guess he wasn't allowed to change his clothes. So that's just not fun in general. Kiefer has to sit in ice cream. Kyle and Rowe both have to crack eggs over their heads. Jed has to do a Rowe impersonation. He did a pretty good one about when he's talking to LT about I'm the most calm, cool, collected person in his house. I don't get angry. As he's screaming and chasing her down the hall. So that was a fun moment there. Tara has to roll a potato on the ground using her nose. I was trying to keep up with all of them. I didn't get all of them down, but they're not super important. We got pies to the face. And then finally we get the bingo. Kiefer's side wins, and they make Braden the bingo ball for the remainder of the week. So it looks like a blueberry. Like, you can barely tell it's a bingo ball. It looks like a blueberry. And so he's got these giant gloves on. We should have got, he only has to do it for a couple of days. Like, he should have had to do this all week, like the U.S., especially trying to, eat and drink with these giant-ass gloves on your hand. Like, there'd have been some funny moments, especially because Bray complains about everything in the Big Brother house, whether it's slop or certain competitions or, in this case, the bingo balls too. Like, he has none of it. Like, the better one would have been Latoya, though, just because she would have literally had none of it. She would have had, the blankest expression on her face, which would have been brilliant. But nevertheless, he does it, but he's a little complainy about it. And Beth and the boys, they want Keith gone. But Tina doesn't want Kiefer gone. And so at this point, Beth and Tina are having a quote-unquote conversation where Tina is trying to gauge where Beth's going to vote this week. They're in the Sunsetters Alliance. This shouldn't be a difficult conversation to have. And Beth's, filing her nails and, giving Tina nothing. She's like, so, I guess where the vote's going this week? She's like, oh, the boys really want Kiefer to go, and Vic really wants Kiefer to go, so it's probably where I'm going to vote. She's like, oh, well, no one really said anything about it. Is that if that's what everybody wants, then I guess that's what we'll do. She's like, yep. And, she at no time looks up and makes eye contact with Tina. She at no time like turns and like acts like she's paying attention to what Tina may have to say. She never engages Tina. She just sits there filing her fucking nails and just going, yeah, well, I guess that's where you're voting, Tina. I'm glad that you checked with me so you didn't screw up. And it's like, Beth, I know she doesn't know that Tina's playing as well as she is, but you're not in a good spot at all. Austin and Bray hate you. The rest of the house knows you're with the boys and don't like you subsequently for that. Everyone compares your stories and knows that you're really transparent and fake. And you're going to not communicate with the one fucking person who's willing to work with you that doesn't have a penis? Jesus Christ. Like, get your shit together, Beth. And again, I know she's probably going to go farther than some of these other threats, but for fuck's sake, if she thinks she's playing a good game, she has developed a tumor because it is not going well. And it's frustrating to see like Tina trying, and it's like pulling teeth. But this conversation in the end won't benefit Tina. It benefits Beth to try to get a better relationship with Tina, who's subsequently in the middle of all the house. It's disrespectful, one, to just when someone's trying to talk to you and you're just having none of it. And then also on top of it, like, she needs this. Tina doesn't need this. So frustrating. I got so pissed. So Tina clearly annoyed with all that. And then we see, on the show proper that Tina and Tara are each other's ride and die. Tina is the kind of archetype of the person with the more mastermindy. She's not a Derek or a Dan or anyone like that, but she has those startings. She has a sort of rough draft of what could be one of those games. And Tara is kind of like her Cody or her Memphis. She's willing to ride or die to the end. And they're conflicting on what side to pick because the Sunsetters really aren't giving them much to work with. They're clearly on the bottom there. And the Oddballs, they're clearly on the bottom there. But where they will thrive is that they're not going to be targeted for a while. And they can use that to start really pulling strings on both sides. Really, if the game's not over for them, they can put the work in and still gain control. Because as long as Ty, Jed, Kyle, Rowe, Vic are still in the house, there are shots to be taken that do not involve them. But Tara doesn't trust Ty and Jed because Ty and Jed never brought her into the Sunsetters. They picked Tina for that. So while the other side did bring her in, I understand why she's a little more lenient toward the oddball side. But there are more oddballs than Sunsetters, and you should try to even it out a little bit so that the oddballs don't just steamroll the Sunsetters and turn their attention on the bottom of their alliance. So Tara does want to play the middle more, though. Needs to kind of drag Tina here to the middle. Because Tina is like, she doesn't want to aggress the middle play. She doesn't really want to keep up the work of checking in with all these people. And that's what's going to be required if you're going to play the middle, is you have to do a lot of work to stay in the middle because you don't want to get found out. It's easy to pick a side and then just be with that side. But to play everyone, you have to literally talk to everyone all the time. So we get to the votes. The votes come out 6-3 with Beth, Ty, and Jed voting out Kiefer. And then Austin, Bray, Kyle, Rowe, Tina, and Tara voting out LT. Latoya is evicted from the BBCAN house. And she saw it coming. Like, she wasn't in the dark about this. Toward the middle of the week, the writing was on the wall. She was going home. And she's not like, oh my God, this blindside that Vic thought it was going to be this big epic blindside. But no, it's not that hard to figure out you're the target when someone wants to keep you on the block so bad. Nevertheless, LT is evicted here. And really her downfall is that she couldn't be cutthroat. if she could have lied and deceived, she'd have been in Tina's spot or been with Tina instead of Tara. She could have really been running the game, but she's too loyal and she's too honest, and that 9 times out of 10 doesn't really do well in these games. Look at Coach in Survivor. It took him 3 seasons to learn you gotta lie to get far. So we get this shuffleboard HOH called a senior disc count. It's basically one of those like crapshoot HOHs where you throw something and get the highest number, then you win. But this one's a little different because if you throw it, it's like shuffleboard. If you throw it too hard, it goes past. So you gotta like try to get that aim just right. It's not just like hit a ball and see where it randomly falls. There's a little more skill required. This is kind of like the HOH in BB22 that Enzo ultimately beats Kaser in with sliding the mugs. So Tara rolls a 7, Kiefer rolls a 10, Kyle an 8, Bray a 1, Jed a 9, Beth a 4, Austin a 10, Tina 0, Ty 9, Roe 4. So Keith and Austin have to go again. Keith gets a 9, Austin gets a 7, making Kiefer the new head of household and really keeping up this 2 sides of the house. Because Kiefer is going to keep Jed and Ty safe this week. Probably going to target Kyle and Roe because of how things played out last week with the whole fireworks thing. And this means we can keep up the Sunsetters. One side is not going to steamroll the other side for now. So, we've got real lucky that it's been back and forth with who's had HOHs. And I hope that continues. I hope next week maybe either Kyle or Roe, whoever stays, can win and put up, like Jed and Ty, and then one of them win and put up let's have the power players really just start taking shots at each other. It'd be very nice for TV's sake. So that really puts the end of this edition of the podcast. Like I said, it's going to be a short one. There wasn't really a whole lot to talk about on the episode proper. LT's gone. Kiefer's HOH. I hope he targets Kyle and Roe. Because he said it himself, he doesn't want to play games with them anymore. Well, there you go. Take your shot, Keith. And it would really put a bad taste in Roe's mouth that the one person him and Kyle tried to buck up on, tried to intimidate, is going to be the one that's going to take the shot at them later in the game. So with that, puts an end to this edition of the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification for all future podcasts and videos. And most importantly, guys, stay safe and stay nerdy.